but this is my WWE TLC 2009 pay-per-view predictions. Pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. And as far as this pay-per-view card, it doesn't look like a terrible pay-per-view card, but other than 2 matches on this pay-per-view, it's kind of like a lot of the matches are something that I wouldn't really care about seeing, and a lot of them seem, passable in my opinion. So I'm kind of expecting going into this pay-per-view, it's probably just going to be, either, a throwaway pay-per-view from WWE, or maybe at best an average pay-per-view, or maybe it could completely shock me and actually be a very good pay-per-view from WWE, because I think most people with this pay-per-view, I think, are probably going to say the match they're looking forward to the most is the ECW Championship match, the ladder match with Christian and Shelton, and the Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton match. Those 2 matches I think people are really interested in is those. Now, for this pay-per-view, I got to admit, it is very refreshing to see some new talent getting pushed, some younger talent actually getting pushed in WWE, because you got Drew McIntyre, you got him getting the IC title shot, you got Sheamus against John Cena, and you got the probably the biggest push of them, as far as I think the big push that's actually going to continue, is Kofi Kingston's push. That's really shocked how much WWE has been pushing him. Now the other 2, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, now those 2 might be kind of like the wrong people to push, because that's the one thing, even though as refreshing it is to see Cena take someone on that's different than Triple H, Shawn Michaels, or Randy Orton, I kind of think, some guys like MVP and Jack Swagger deserve to get a push more than Sheamus, or, even on SmackDown, I think there's some other talent that probably could get pushed over Drew McIntyre as well. But with this pay-per-view, I'm going to give them 2 a shot. Like I said in my video yesterday, I'm not going to really completely shit over the John Cena match with Sheamus going into it. Now, if the match is terrible, obviously we'll say it's terrible, but I'm at least give him a shot right now, see what he can prove in the match tomorrow night against John Cena in the tables match. Now, the first match on the pay-per-view will be John Morrison versus Drew McIntyre for the IC title. Now, I don't think they'll give the title to Drew McIntyre, especially since if Morrison loses this match right here, Morrison will be losing 3 pay-per-views in a row, and it's going to make him look very weak as IC champion. So I think he definitely needs to get the win here. Probably be a fairly short match. I'm not expecting this to be probably maybe 10 minutes at best. Then John Morrison will retain the IC championship. Next matchup will probably be the match of the night, at least the match that I'm thinking is going to steal the show, and that's Christian versus Shelton Benjamin and the ECW title match in a ladder match. Now, this match, the only thing that can ruin this match is them not getting enough time. If this is given enough time, I'm sure this should be an excellent match between these 2. Both of them are great in ladder matches, so they should have very good chemistry with each other in this match. Now, I'm hoping it gets maybe 15 to 20 minutes, at least 15 minutes. It definitely needs to get 15 minutes to have at least enough time for them to get in everything they need to do in the match. Now, don't think Shelton will win the ECW championship, even though kind of something good for him to do. So you kind of could get the title off Christian and maybe slowly get him off the ECW brand and put him on either Raw or SmackDown. But I see him retain the ECW championship. Should be a good match. Like I said, if it's given enough time, this could be the show stealer of the night. Then the next matchup will be Undertaker versus Batista in a chairs match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, these 2 have very good chemistry with each other. They work great with each other, have put on very good matches in the past. But the gimmick of this is really the thing that seems really idiotic. I know you got a TLC pay-per-view, and most of the match is supposed to involve either ladders, tables, or chairs. But couldn't you at least make something like a no-holds-barred match or something, which this probably is what this is going to be. What this is going to be, I guess they're going to have a lot of chairs around ringside, and those is pretty much going to be a chairs as legal match. Now, if it doesn't become just a match where for like 10 to 15 minutes they keep on just swinging chairs back and forth, it could be good if it's just done in the way where they're legal, but it's still at the same time they're actually doing a real match as well. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this match turns out. The gimmick kind of doesn't interest me that much. I think that's probably the thing that's going to hurt it. Obviously, the world title isn't going to be changing hands in a chairs match. At least I don't think it would. So Undertaker will retain the title. There are rumors that Batista might win the title at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. So maybe to have another match with Undertaker at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in January. The next matchup will be for the WWE Women's Championship. This will be Michelle McCool versus Mickie James. And even though Mickie James is kind of getting frustrated with WWE, and she has signed a recording contract with a country label, I do see her winning the Women's Championship here, mainly just due to the fact that Michelle McCool's been getting the upper hand so much going into this match that it just looks obvious that Mickie James should walk out as Women's Champion. She has had the title for a little while, so I think you'll see a Women's Championship change right here with Mickie James winning the WWE Women's Championship. Should be probably a decent match. Probably won't go too long. Probably about 8 minutes. They might be able to work a pretty good match. I think it's going to be at least a little better than most of the typical Divas matches. Then the next matchup will be Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston, and this is pretty much the rubber match between these two. These two have got a victory on each other, with Randy Orton getting the fluke victory on Randy Orton, or the use of by cheap tactics from Legacy's involvement, and then Kofi Kingston getting the win this past Monday night on Raw with the fast count from Mark Cuban. So this is the rubber match, and a lot of people are probably expecting going into this match that Randy Orton is definitely going to win, but for some reason or another, I see this feud continuing, and the way this feud is going to have to continue, Kofi Kingston is going to have to pick up the victory. So I see him picking up the victory here. At least hopefully, because I definitely wouldn't mind seeing this push with Kofi continue, and hopefully they don't just kill it off at this pay-per-view. But even if Randy Orton does go over, they could at least book the match in a way where it makes Kofi Kingston look very credible. That's the one way they could do it if he does lose, but I do see Kofi Kingston winning this match against Randy Orton. Should be a very good match. Next matchup is for the WWE Championship in a tables match with John Cena versus Sheamus. Like I said earlier, I'm going to give Sheamus the chance here, see what he can prove tomorrow before I actually say too much about him, because really most of us haven't really seen enough from him to really get an opinion on him, whether he's good or bad. Now, he kind of seems like, just the way he looks and the way he's just moved in some of his matches and the way he kind of works, just the typical, big man that really isn't that good at all. But give him a chance tomorrow, see what he does. Now, obviously, Cena will retain the title here. I don't think anyone's expecting Sheamus to walk out as champion. Now, that'd be a biggest shocker of the year right there if Sheamus walks out as champion, but I don't see even a 1% chance of that even happening. The main event of the evening is going to be for the WWE Unified Tag Team Championships in a TLC match with DX versus Jericho, Big Show, and Chris Jericho. Now, this match right here, most of the match is Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. Those two have very good chemistry. They work good with each other, especially in ladder matches as well. So if most of the match is them two against each other, this could actually be pretty good. I'm not expecting too much from Big Show in this match, just because in a ladder match, what are you really going to expect from him? Now, he'll probably, they'll probably tease they go up the ladder once. Maybe he'll do, his little knockout punch to either Shawn Michaels or Triple H in the match, but I don't see him really doing too much in here. Triple H as well, with his injuries with his quad, I don't see him really doing too much in a ladder match as well. So most of the match, I kind of see it being, as far as the ladder spots in the match, is mostly going to be not Triple H, but Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, with probably Big Show and Triple H kind of having them two kind of work like the slow, methodical pace of the match. But like I said, it could be a good match here. Now, obviously, I'm thinking this is going to be the main event of the evening, just because it's the one match that's actually, named after the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view's TLC, and the main event should be a TLC match, especially since this pay-per-view is in San Antonio, Texas, Shawn Michaels' hometown. So with that, I expect that to be the main event just for that reason. And really, the two other matches, I don't think a chair match would main event a pay-per-view. And Sheamus, even though they've been pushing him pretty strong going into this pay-per-view, I don't think he'll main event the pay-per-view. I think he'll be the match right before the main event, or a match or two before the main event. And I see DX win the Unified Tag Team Championships right here, because for some reason or another, I see them definitely winning the Tag Team Championships in this match, then having maybe a program with the Hart Dynasty Then after the Hart Dynasty defeat DX, I see the way that Hart Dynasty would maybe get the tag team championships, maybe have a Triple H heel turn, him turning on Shawn Michaels, and then leading up to a Shawn Michaels and Triple H match at WrestleMania. Since that seems like the most logical thing, because I can't really think of what you would do with either one of them till Mania. So I'll be okay with them having pretty month or two or 3-month title reign with the tag titles, then having a feud with each other at WrestleMania. Since it kind of looks like that's the way they were doing with them right there. And I don't see Big Show and Jericho retain the titles just because I don't see any purpose of them retaining the titles. I mean, if they retain them, what are they going to do? At least with DX, you could possibly have some type of program with either the Hart Dynasty, with the whole, 97 screw job. They'll obviously involve that in the storyline with them if they take on each other, or Crime Time and DX. And if Big Show and Jericho retain, I really don't see what would you really do with them if they retain. I mean, you pretty much stuck with, are you going to do DX in them again? You can continue that. And I see DX winning the titles here, and pretty much Shawn Michaels probably have a big, celebration after the match since it is in his hometown. Even though it's only the tag titles, they'll, have a little celebration for him after him and Triple H win the tag team championships, the unified tag team championships. And like I said, with this pay-per-view, I'm not expecting this to be a great pay-per-view, or maybe not even a good pay-per-view, but there's a chance this pay-per-view could be at least an average pay-per-view, because there are some matches that could possibly deliver, like the main event TLC match. Like I said, if it's mostly Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels with each other in there most of the match, then it could be pretty good. Expecting the Shelton, Benjamin, and Christian match to steal the show. Hopefully he gets enough time. And it's good with this pay-per-view to at least see, at least try to give it a try, push some new faces, push some younger talent for the change, and other than having the same talent on every single pay-per-view. So that's the good thing from this pay-per-view right here. So we'll have to just wait and see how this pay-per-view delivers tomorrow night on pay-per-view. And yeah, that's it for my TLC pay-per-view predictions. Peace. Refreshing to see some new talent getting pushed, some younger talent actually getting pushed in WWE, because you got Drew McIntyre, you got him getting the IC title shot, you got Sheamus against John Cena, and you got the this is my WWE TLC 2009 pay-per-view predictions. Pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. And as far as this pay-per-view card, it doesn't look like a terrible pay-per-view card, but other than 2 matches on this pay-per-view, it's kind of like a championship match, the ladder match with Christian and Shelton, and the Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton match. Those are 2 matches I think people are really interested in, is those. Now, for this pay-per-view, I got to admit, it is very, or maybe at best, an average pay-per-view. Or maybe it could completely shock me and actually be a very good pay-per-view from WWE, because I think most people with this pay-per-view, I think, are probably going to say the match they're looking forward to the most is the ECW. Like, a lot of the matches are something that I wouldn't really care about seeing, and a lot of them seem, passable in my opinion. So I'm kind of expecting going into this pay-per-view, it's probably just going to be, either, a throwaway pay-per-view from WWE,